Hey everyone, Nigel here, and welcome to Crime Zone. While Netflix is home to bingeable content of all genres, there is clearly a special appetite among its subscribers for true crime content. The streaming giant's already sizable library of crime series and documentaries, including their own critically acclaimed forays into the genre, seems to be growing all the time, with the last couple of years being especially prolific. This large library, combined with the platform's substantial reach, has meant that many relatively unknown or obscure crime stories have managed to gain mass awareness, either as a result of being developed into content directly by Netflix, or by simply appearing on the platform. That's what we want to take a look at today. For this list, we will be considering both crime stories popularized through documentaries produced by Netflix, as well as documentaries that appeared on the platform, but which likely wouldn't have received the same attention otherwise. That means we won't be including cases that were already widely known about before arriving on Netflix, such as the Aaron Hernandez Case, the Disappearance of Madeleine McCann, or the story of Amanda Knox. We also won't be considering cases that appear as part of a series looking at several different crimes, such as the confession tapes or Dirty Money. A word of warning, this video does contain details of the cases themselves, so if you haven't watched these docs yet and hate spoilers, you might want to skip this one. As always, tell us what you thought of our list in the comments sections below, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. With that out of the way, here is our list of 7 crime stories made famous by Netflix. With a runtime of only 40 minutes, Longshot is by far the shortest documentary on this list. The film tells the story of Juan Catalan, whose innocence was proven in a 2003 drive-by shooting after outtakes from the HBO show Curb Your Enthusiasm showed he was attending a Los Angeles Dodgers game at the time of the murder. By pure coincidence, the footage HBO had shot for the Larry David comedy series happened to capture the exact area where Catalan and his daughter were sitting, proving his alibi. Though the novelty of the story caused it to make headlines at the time, it wasn't until the film was created and distributed by Netflix in 2017 that it became a widely known case. Of all the documentaries on this list, Out of Thin Air is perhaps the one that would have received the least amount of attention had it not been distributed by Netflix. Owing to Iceland's small population and relative isolation, it's not often that you hear news about the country at all, let alone about 2 missing persons cases leading to 2 separate murder investigations. Out of Thin Air tells the story of the disappearance of 2 men in the country in the 1970s, and the 6 suspects who falsely confessed and were later convicted of the murders, despite no bodies being found or any forensic evidence tying the suspects to the crimes. The mysterious details of the case, as well as the harrowing ordeal that the suspects went through at the hands of investigators, makes for a compelling story that definitely deserved to be heard. The Keepers is a 7-part series released by Netflix in 2017 that tells the story of the unsolved murder of Catherine Ann Sesnick. Sesnick, known throughout the series as Sister Kathy, was a nun who taught English and drama at an all-girls Roman Catholic high school in Baltimore, before her disappearance and subsequent murder in late 1969. What's perhaps most compelling about the series is the way that it manages to expertly balance the telling of Sister Kathy's story while also dealing with the themes of broader sexual abuse within the Catholic Church. While many of us are no doubt aware of the scandals and systemic abuses within the church that have come to light over the years, The Keepers is powerful for the way that it makes the material deeply personal, relying heavily on former students, friends, and family of Sister Kathy to tell much of the story. Though sadly the murder has never been solved, the attention brought about by the series has certainly renewed interest in the case since its release. The 2016 documentary Sour Grapes tells the story of Rudy Kurniawan, perhaps the most prolific wine fraudster of all time. By posing as a rich Indonesian wine collector and using old bottles with forged labels, Kurniawan was able to pass off cheaper wine that he had purchased as rare, expensive bottles, fooling some of the richest and most avid wine connoisseurs in the United States in the process. By far, Kurniawan's biggest score was when he was able to sell $35 million worth of his fraudulent wines at the Acker, Maryland Condit auction in 2006, a record-breaking sale at the time. In 2014, Rudy Kurniawan became the first person in the US convicted of wine fraud, receiving a sentence of 10 years. While the amazing story was unsurprisingly well known in wine collecting circles, it's doubtful it ever would have reached the kind of mass audience it did without its distribution on Netflix. According to directors Jerry Rothwell and Ruben Atlas, as many as 10,000 of Kurniawan's wines may still be in private collections today. Equal parts strange and horrifying, Abducted in Plain Sight tells the story of the multiple kidnappings and sexual abuse suffered by Jan Broberg at the hands of her neighbor Robert Berchtold in the 1970s. Though the story was first told in a memoir written by Jan and her mother Marianne in 2003, its subsequent release on Netflix in 2019 is what catapulted it into the public consciousness. The film chronicles the nightmarish abuse suffered not only by Jan, but the entire Broberg family at the hands of Berchtold, with director Skye Borgman expertly laying out the unbelievable details of the case in its compact 90-minute runtime. The first-hand accounts from Jan and both of her parents also adds to the palpable sense of dread throughout the film, making the full extent of Berchtold's manipulation all the more impactful. Originally produced as a French miniseries in 2004, The Staircase follows the trial and conviction of Michael Peterson for the murder of his wife Kathleen. Though the premise is straightforward, the case is anything but, with the titular staircase offering up much more mystery than it first might seem. Though the original series was successful upon its initial release, it wasn't until Netflix re-released the series with 3 additional episodes exclusive to their platform in 2018 that the case received much of its international attention. Arguably one of Netflix's best offerings in the true crime genre, The Staircase is an in-depth look at the case, the Peterson family, and the criminal justice system, and leaves viewers feeling deeply conflicted about all 3. No other piece of content in Netflix's true crime library has had quite the impact of 2015's Making a Murderer. Chronicling the 2003 exoneration of Stephen Avery and his subsequent trial and conviction in a different case, Making a Murderer became a smash hit on Netflix, and its success was largely responsible for the streaming giant diving headfirst into producing more true crime content in the following years. A relatively unknown case before the documentary series, the story of Stephen Avery is now one of the most widely known in all of the true crime genre, often compared to the viral podcast Serial and the case of Adnan Syed. Though the latest season caught up to the most recent developments in the case, it seems very likely that Netflix will be serving up a 3rd season at some point, once again feeding viewers' obsession with the case. That brings us to the end of our list. Were there any crime docs that you think we missed? Also, don't forget to subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Thank you for watching.